Welcome to Just Saying, a podcast produced by and recorded at Tri-State Worship Center. Now here are your hosts, Holly Schneider and Pastor Terry Wagner.
Hello. Hi, and welcome to the podcast.
Oh, boy. To the pod. Am I supposed to,
Welcome, everyone.
You could do
I could do that.
Here we are, doing things.
That we probably shouldn't do.
Yes. Wait, what?
Sing, trying to make
Trying
your
to
own
sing
jingle.
and dance.
So, welcome.
I think what
Welcome.
he's saying is he didn't like your singing. That's what it
That's
sounded like
rude.
to me.
I love your singing.
Very rude. Welcome to the Just Saying podcast.
Welcome.
We just finished VBS.
The vibs.
Are we really finished?
Oh, I walked in. I said, "This place is a mess. What
Right.
they do today?"
Yeah.
It's on its way
Yeah.
back.
We moved 37 big old water totes today. And that was not easy, especially the way you had them all lit.
Lit.
Yeah.
They were lit.
It was like, no, put it back. We got to get that light out of there. You know?
Yeah, some of
No,
the
put it
cables
back. We
were,
got to cut
run
those wire
throughout it.
ties off of there. And then it was like, we tried to carry one out. A couple of us carry one out. And then somebody's like, get the dolly. And that dolly, the lip on that dolly is,
Well, Adam, he dollied them.
well, we
I
got
think it's because that's what he does for a living.
we got furniture
He's a
dollies.
professional.
Oh,
We got a couple furniture dollies that you use for Journey for your game, whatever
yeah,
that game
a
was.
hungry hippo game.
If you just set them right off the stage onto that dolly, and it rolls them right
Rolled
out.
them right out.
yeah,
So, but if you weren't here, you have no idea what we're talking about.
correct.
Where you been?
Yeah.
Look it up on Facebook. It was actually really cool.
Yeah.
It was.
And I don't clean up.
I'm gonna all week. I'm gonna hear Cash singing Illumination Station.
Join the celebration.
I saw that video that I guess was it Amanda shared it or something.
Yeah.
Put on and him dancing. That was really cool.
Yeah, he's got some moves. That kid. He's
He,
got good rhythm.
He had a very big transition that first night.
He did.
He was super upset.
Yeah.
But then, like, as soon as it started, he was up there. I'm like, well, that was fast.
He did the same thing Sunday morning. Like he was, he was fine being here, but he was like, I don't know if I feel like dancing today. I was like, okay, well, and I knew as soon as that
soon as the
music
music
started, he was like,
Let's go.
he can't help it. It's in his blood.
It was
Yeah.
very good. Very good.
Anybody have any new things, new stories, anything?
No, not here. Just, back from vacation, still trying to get in the saddle. And
You've been back for 2 weeks. Can you just get
it's
in the
only been
saddle
a
already?
week. It's only been
Good
a
grief.
week. It's only been a
He's riding
week.
side saddle right now.
Somebody came to me Sunday and said, "Are you ever preaching again?"
Oh.
I was like, "Well,
And then they
Tune
said,
in next week.
I might."
I hope not. Oh, I'm
You
just
were saying
joking.
that?
No, they were.
Wow.
I would never say
I said
that.
I love your singing. You don't have to be that way.
So obviously, if you watch us or listen to us, you know who's in the room. But let me introduce ourselves. My name is Holly. Sorry.
Allow myself to introduce.
She is jolly.
And then we have Pastor Terry, aka Mi Padre.
Hello.
PT.
Big PT, Big T, the T,
TT.
Waggy Wag, and the Funky Bunch.
Big wag.
I've never heard that one.
I just made it up.
Big wag.
And
Big Wag.
Yeah,
then
that-
go ahead.
So I'm done.
Is there more?
Well, yeah, but they're passwords, so I can't. I can't tell. them.
Then we have Tyler, our sound and visual magician.
Person.
Awkward pause.
Guy. Thing.
And he puts the stage back together
Yes.
once we clean it off.
Yes. So yeah, awesome. We've been talking about this season about navigating difficult things. Right now, I'm currently navigating my phone not working,
Yeah.
and it's a difficult thing.
You seem distracted.
I'm sorry.
We're all attached.
That's where all my notes are.
Oh, yikes.
So we have gone over lots of different things this season, but today
Yes.
it's going to be our last episode doing this, and then next week we're going to do the lightning episode where we
Yes.
answer questions from you people. Oh gosh.
Sorry, I couldn't help it.
What was that?
Oh,
I heard it, but
scared.
That was a clap of thunder, but also kind of sounded like a gunshot.
see, last time we were in here, there was a loud sound out there, and
Yes.
someone
That's true.
screaming. So.
This time the loud sound was in our headphones.
Rose such a clatter. So today we're talking about navigating church hurt. When you get hurt at church, by the church,
We're navigating church hurt, which means when you get hurt
at
the
church.
Okay.
The church hurt. Some people don't believe in church hurt.
At the end of this episode, you may think I'm one of them.
So let's start.
Ready, go.
Number 1. Why does hurt from the church often feel deeper than hurt from anywhere else?
Well, I think first we have to establish that as far as I'm concerned, the church never hurt anybody. Never. People hurt people,
Right.
but the church never hurt anyone. If you just do a very simple Google search, what is church hurt? It says church hurt is the emotional, psychological, and spiritual pain caused by leaders, members, or systems within a religious community. It happens when a person is judged, betrayed, mistreated by people that they trusted to represent God. So my overarching thing here, and it's probably going to come up several times, is that I don't think the church hurts anybody. It's people that hurt people. And I do mean that from both sides. I think leadership obviously can do things to hurt people. I think people that attend a community of faith can hurt people, but I also think the people who think they're hurt are sometimes just being selfish. And it's not about being hurt. Brant Hansen, Brant Hansen, has written several books. I love reading after the guy, but one of the books that he wrote is called, and I'll do a plug for you, Brant. You should send us some
Merch.
Unoffendable.
Unoffendable.
In his book,
I've read half of it.
well, you should read the other
I know.
half, and you would not be offended. But I'll be offended if you don't read the other half. But he says that being offended is a choice, and that he will go as far as saying that if you're a Christian, you should never be offended.
Yeah.
Because if you choose to follow Christ, first thing you do is deny yourself. And if you're offended because of something that you feel like has hurt you, or somebody did something, said something, and that's selfish. And he says you make the choice at that moment not to be offended or to be offended. So, what if I said, as Christians, we should be unoffendable? What does that do to the whole issue of church hurt? As we were cleaning up some of the VBS things, and a couple of the Utes were here to help us carry things, and this kind of came up in a different way. But my response, and I really didn't even think about it when I was preparing for this, is when did it switch? When did the change happen that whatever community of faith that I'm attached to, it's more about me than it is about the community of faith, or even about God? When did this happen that suddenly the church exists to make me happy? And I think that's a big part, if not a majority part of the problem, is church hurt too often is happening when people don't have things go the way they think they should go.
Right.
So then they get hurt, they pack up their goods, they take it down the street to another church. So what happened to, this is my church because God sent me here?
Right.
And I mean, what happened to that? People are like, well, I just, feel like I'm not growing here. I feel like I'm distracted by, things that are happening around me. All these other things that we come up with that we consider reasons to be hurt, reasons to even leave the church. But I think that too often it's selfish, and so I think that's why it seems to hurt worse. Is because the people that we depend on and people that we have faith in our minds and in our perspective, they have let us down, and it makes it personal. And I'm not saying church shouldn't be personal, but the reason I'm here at Tri-State Worship Center is because I feel like this is where God wants me. And I've made this comment. I wouldn't let a devil in hell run me off of this place. I would not. Unless God said, okay, time's up, it's time to move on. That does happen, but I don't think God is in the works as much as people say that He is. I think more times than not, it's people that just get hurt or offended because things didn't go the way they thought they should go. Mm-hmm. Even to the point of having staff people or people in leadership positions, like Tyler's over our media ministry, Sound Media, you and Ryan over our youth ministry, and there's people that would think, well, how come they are in those positions and not me? And because they're not in those positions, they get hurt. Now, is that church hurt because things didn't turn out the way you wanted them to turn out? Right. I'm not saying that there's not moral failure going on. Obviously, every time you turn around. Matter of fact, I got somebody on is a Facebook friend, and I may have mentioned this. I don't know if I really know them, but everything they send me by messenger, and I'm telling you, 99% of what they send me is all these ministers that have fallen. I don't know why. I don't know why the person keeps sending them to me. So I'm not denying that. That happens, yeah, and we get disappointed. But even then, is that hurt? Is that reason to be hurt? I'm going to go with Mr. Hansen and say that we have a choice of whether we're going to be offended or not, whether we're going to be hurt or not. It's up to us. And I could say two of the greatest hurts in my life came at the hands of churches. If I responded the way a lot of people respond, I wouldn't be here. I'd be out on the street somewhere doing my thing. But I just think that too often we just make it more personal than we should. And it does hurt when it is the community of faith, because those are people that we put our hope in, our trust in, our faith in.
But do you feel like that's part of the problem?
The people, or that we put our trust in people? Yeah,
that we think, I hate to say that we hold people to a higher standard inside the community of faith, but at the same time, we don't realize that it's broken people,
oh, sure. Yeah.
with issues and heart issues and things that shouldn't be there or shouldn't be done, but we, because it's happening at church. Mm-hmm. Like we would expect it from a family member, right, or expect it at a workplace. But when it happens in the church, it's like, I feel like it's heightened, to a certain extent, because we expect more.
I think that's probably a better way of saying it than what I said. We just expect more. Like, the pastor of the church, Ryan stood in the pulpit a couple weeks ago and was raw and real about, where he came from. And things that were happening in his life prior to being in ministry. And, I'm sure there were people that probably heard that or even was here and thought, that's not good. But the reality is that I think we do expect too much from people. I think we expect too much from, and what that causes then is for me to put my eyes on a person rather than on God.
Right.
And I think when it comes to being attached to a community of faith, it's about, what does God want me to do here?
Right.
What does God want out of me? And too often we're just driven by the human element in all of it.
When you look biblically at what Jesus went through, he was ran out of the temple a few times.
Yeah.
And he was offended by those in his community.
Yeah.
You know, he was denied by Peter. He was betrayed by Judas. He had, the disciples look at him, I don't know how many times, and be like, how did that happen? Like after he did miracle after miracle, and they still just didn't get it. But yet he handled it with grace and mercy and love, and he still served people, and he never was like, okay, that's it. I ain't dying for you now.
Yeah.
You crossed the line.
Yeah, and actually, I made a note about that the Bible never hides the fact that there were some sharp disagreements.
Yeah.
Demas, Paul said, Demas has left me because he loved the world more than. I mean, there are all kinds of those. Peter and Paul in the Jerusalem Council. I mean, there's a lot of that, but in the first century, man, you didn't have all this smorgasbord of smorgasbord.
Smorgasbord?
That just felt weird when I said it.
Is it a Borg or a board?
Board, isn't it? Board? Smorgasbord?
I thought it was a smorgasbord.
Smorgasbord.
Well, there's something about something about a cat in psychology. I don't know.
The cat in a
Schrodinger's Borg.
There is a plethora.
I'm going to Google it.
There's a buffet of churches now, right? And so I was collect up my ball and go play somewhere else. In the first century, it wasn't that way. You couldn't. I mean, you couldn't leave the church. There was only one, right?
Yeah.
So there were the disagreements, and there were people that got hurt, and there were people that were brokenhearted over things. But I think today, unfortunately, selfishness has increased.
Yeah.
In the pulpit and the pew, to the point where it's hanky time.
From the pulpit and the pew.
Right.
Come on.
Yeah. I mean, I just wished we could get back to trust in the Lord with all your heart and not leaning in your own understanding. I mean, there's things I'm sure people haven't agreed with me over the years here, but I don't know that it's reason to leave. I know everybody loves Pastor Terry. When we bought this building, and I said, eventually I want to turn this back part into a sanctuary. Literally, I had a couple leave the church because they said, "You'll never do that," and I'm like, "That's a reason to leave."
Yeah.
Right, and of course,
Well, look at us now.
right. Look at it, and they
And a boo-boo.
and they were back. They came back for one of our bazaars or something. And then they confessed to me and walked up and said, "We have to admit that we never thought you'd do this." But I mean, and I'm not saying that for like, oh, poor pastor. I'm saying, what a silly reason.
Yeah.
What a silly reason. And down through the years, I mean, it's been all kinds of reasons, right? Color of carpet, color of the walls, style of music, all the different. There's been people that they don't think I preach hard enough. Well, I'm not a preacher. I'm a storyteller. That's just my DNA. That's who I am. But we again, when did that flip? When did it make it? When is it more about me than it is about what does God want?
Right.
It just amazes me. It really amazes me. I mean, people come to my office. When they come into my office and say, "Hey, listen, we feel like the Lord is leading us on to somewhere. I'm going to pray blessings on you. God bless you." I hope. But I don't think God leads people on as often as people say He's leading them on. I think sometimes it's just they get hurt. Mm-hmm. They get offended. They get bothered by something, and their response to that is, "Let's go."
Yeah.
Let's go. And I know this is not the topic, or at least it's not the center topic. But what is the purpose? What do they think they're achieving when they do that? Right? When they say, I'm going to go to another church and I'm going to say it's God's plan, or God's released me from here. What are they really doing? What's really the end goal here? Right? It's really hard for me not to think they're trying to hurt somebody. They're trying to hurt somebody.
Right.
Right? Hurt people.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No.
Soapbox, get away.
Yeah, I know. This is a touchy subject because I think
Is it touchy?
it is touchy.
I don't know if it is.
Calm down.
I don't think it is.
Speaking of touchy,
Yeah. Just get in the saddle already.
I've been working hauling totes all afternoon. All right. It's a touchy subject. Go ahead. I'm
It
sorry.
is. I feel like it's a touchy subject because I feel like in my old age, the ripe old age of 43, that I am learning.
Is it 40? I thought it was 44.
I'll be 44 next month on the 12th
11th.
of August.
11th
The
of
12th.
August. Go ahead.
Anyways, I feel like I'm learning and have learned, and the Lord is teaching me all at the same time, that when we are focused on our fruit and our growth, right, and what God is wanting to do in us, we spend a lot of less time focusing on others.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I think as a church, that's a big thing. Like, I'll try not to, I don't want to be offensive, but even in doing VBS, we had some issues with some people that were not thrilled with evidently some of the ways that I did some things. And my mom was like, you need to fix this problem. You need to talk to this person. And I said to her, that's not my problem to fix. I did not do anything wrong. I don't know why they're upset. I understand that they are, but I have no idea what they did or what I've done to upset them. And it's not like, well, I'm not apologizing to him. It's not that. I was just like, I'm at a place where I'm not even gonna ripple that water. I'm not putting my foot in it. You know what I'm saying? Like, to just open up.
bigger fish to fry right now.
Yeah. My focus is, number one, the kids.
The kids,
yeah. To make this the best VBS ever for our kids. We had an amazing response. We're getting ready to have a baptism. I know of at least 3 kids that have already messaged that are wanting to get baptized this coming week. It was wonderful, but people will find what they're looking for.
Absolutely.
And if they're looking for a reason to be upset or offended or not included or whatever, they're going to find that. Yep. And all I can do as a leader and as a Christian is make sure that my walk is above reproach. Mm-hmm. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. Am I wrong for feeling that way?
No, I think that's part of the problem is that, I make decisions every day. Every day for this church that I feel like are the decisions that the Lord brings me to or the decisions that need to be made. And I'm sure people don't agree with all of them. But I can't listen. It would wear us out if we stopped and tried to, manage every decision.
We're not supposed to be pleasing the people.
No, I don't think so.
I mean, and if that's wrong, twagner977 at Gmail.
Throw your own email out there.
No, I don't check mine.
Oh, that's true. You don't.
Her phone's not working.
Yeah, my phone's not working. But we are the church is in the business of we should be pleasing the Lord. Right? We should be doing what He's called us to do, to make disciples, to baptize them in the name of the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit, to walk, to be producing fruit, to be doing all of these things. And now we're in a society where we go to church and we want the church to please us, and we've lost the focus of pleasing the Lord, and then we get offended when our needs aren't met.
I don't know where that happened. That's my point is, where did it happen that the roles got reversed?
Yeah.
It used to be all about God. No matter what, it's about God. And then somewhere, I don't know if it was the seeker-sensitive movement that came along and, they go into the neighborhood, say, what can the church do to be better? And the church became what the neighborhood wanted rather than be the change agent.
Right.
They became thermometers rather than thermostats. And I don't know if that was it, but I would say that had something to do with it.
Sure.
But somewhere there was this flip that happened that suddenly now church is about me. Mm-hmm. Sing my song, preach things from the pulpit that make me feel good, and do VBS the way I want you to do it.
Right.
I mean, in reality, everybody, myself included, that had a part of VBS, the goal should be, how can we best share Jesus with these children?
Right.
Not, can I do what I want to do, or can I be in a place that I want to be, or can I? No, let's just hook up arms, and I'm saying that as an illustration, because I really feel like they did that.
Oh yeah, it ended up being wonderful.
I mean,
yeah.
what in 4 sessions we had 428 in attendance.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, it was awesome. Had 20-something recommitments and 15 commitments for the first time, and like you said, kids that are going to be baptized, and maybe that's the microcosm of what needs to be the macrocosm, and that is, it's not about me and how I feel and what I want. It's about, how do we best communicate the good news of Jesus Christ to a lost and dying world. I think number one, that's one of the reasons why the church has lost its voice, is so many people that have decided to, take their ball and go play somewhere else. And that's caused so much. That's why there's a church on every corner. I mean, go back to what I said earlier. In the first century, you didn't leave the church because it was the only church.
Right.
I mean, what if it was still that way today? I'm not sure that flip would have happened. And, they'll joke about the guy that was stranded on the island every day, sent up smoke signals trying to get rescued. And finally, the big cruise ship goes by, and they come, and he wants to give them a tour of the island. And there's 3 buildings. And, this is where I lived. And then he says, that's the church I go to. And they're like, well, what's the other building? Because that's the church I used to go to. And he's the only one on the island. But there's some truth in that, unfortunately. And again, I know somebody could hear this and think, well, he's just making a play, for people not to leave Tri-State Worship Center, or the people that have left, over the years. No, I'm not saying that at all. We all have sinned and come short of the glory of God. Right. All of us have. I'm talking about, what is our goal? What is our focus? What is the purpose of the church? Go all the way back to your question, which we haven't even got to question 2.
I know.
That timer is about 5 minutes off because I didn't start it until after we were done with our banter. It goes back to, why does it feel more personal when it's the church? Well, it shouldn't. It does.
Right.
But I think the reason it does is because we make it personal, and it's not supposed to be personal. It's supposed to be about God.
Yeah.
So, I'm sorry.
No, you're good.
I know that.
Question number 2.
2?
2.
Man, it seems like we've been here all afternoon.
I feel like we kind of answered this, but we'll go ahead and re-answer it or skip it. How do we distinguish between being hurt by imperfect people in the church and being hurt by God himself?
Where's the skip button?
All right, next.
I mean, help me understand how God hurts someone.
Right.
How does God hurt someone?
But people do that, right?
I know.
They don't just leave churches, they leave Christ.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, there are people who don't just leave offended, but they're just like, well, if the church is going to treat me like that, then I'm just not going to serve that God altogether.
Yeah. I think that the hurt that we interpret being from God is probably a perception problem.
Right.
Again, it's not, I don't know. I was trying to minister to a family here that was going through a very, very difficult time, and part of the reason they felt like they were going through a difficult time was God was punishing them. I hear that more than I should. Well, this is happening because God's punishing me. And I'm like, really? You really think that? You really think God's punishing you? I mean, he might be trying to teach you a lesson. He might be trying to teach you some patience and some perseverance. He might be trying to redirect your focus. But you really think God's punishing you? And I'm like, I think rather what it is probably is a perception problem, because we're confronted with either something that convicts us or something that challenges us to change, and we don't like that.
Actually, listened to a video this morning. It was Mark Driscoll, and he was watching a video of somebody else talking about how the God from the Old Testament no longer exists, and that after Jesus died on the cross, a new God was born. And
Wow.
that's pretty much what he said. What he said it was blasphemy in a ball cap is what he called it, because the guy who was talking had a ball cap on.
Well, Driscoll wears a ball cap.
He
now,
does,
too.
yeah.
I don't like that.
Anyways, are you offended?
Glad I didn't wear my hat today.
I have chosen to be unoffendable.
Anyways, but that's one of the things he said is that God, the God of the Old Testament, who smited people and did all these things. I don't know if that's a word.
I think it's smote 'em.
Smooted. I
Man,
will
we're stuck on all kinds of
thee.
words.
That God doesn't exist, and that the current God that exists, who exists after Jesus died and rose from the dead, is a God of love and freedom.
Yeah.
And I'm like, he isn't. The Bible literally tells us he's the same today, yesterday,
today,
forever, right?
Yes.
He's not going to change.
Nope.
And I think if anything, he might show us more grace than he did in the Old Testament because of Jesus, right?
Yes.
Because that blood covers a multitude of sin.
Yes.
But that doesn't mean we still don't get disciplined. But I don't think he gets mad at people and he's just sitting up there going, well, I'm upset with you today. So
So I will open up the earth
Right.
and swallow
So
thee.
that brings
you're going to stub your toe on the coffee
Right.
table.
yeah,
Yes.
that brings God down to our level, right? And makes him inconsistent.
Yes. That's the whole. Again, it goes back. I think it was on the last episode. It goes back to we interpret the things that God does through what we think. And His ways are not our ways. His thoughts are not our thoughts.
Right.
It's not the same. And somehow, some way, it's funny that you said that about Driscoll and you. Because I am working on a series right now. I don't know when I'll be able to deliver it. Probably not till next spring. But it's on the Old Testament, because I think we avoid the Old Testament because of that. Right? We avoid the Old Testament because we don't like that God. I mean, that God, he's a mean dude. So we're not going to read that because we don't like it. We're just going to go New Testament and say, hey, we're under the new covenant.
Yeah.
It's all good now. It's all covered by grace, all covered by the blood of Jesus. And we miss out because the New Testament really can't be understood without the Old Testament.
Right. And well, that was one of his points, is like Jesus himself.
I mean, me and Driscoll had the same
yes.
point. Wow.
He was like Jesus himself used the Old Testament. Like if it's good
that's
enough
all
for
they had.
Jesus,
That's
is it
all-
not
right.
good enough for us?
We think that Jesus walked around with the New Testament under his
Right.
arm. No, he had the Old Testament, the Hebrew Scriptures.
Yeah.
That's all they had. They didn't have anything else. And so I don't think...
And he quotes it and he uses it and he explains it.
Absolutely does. So I think you would have to help me understand how God hurt someone over... God may be convicting someone. God may be challenging someone, but I don't think God's getting up every day like, who can I hurt today?
Right.
No.
No. Absolutely not. What are some common ways people experience church hurt, and how should the church respond when someone has been wounded? So I want to, before you answer,
Okay, you must have heard me inhale.
I want to give you some of the reasons that I have
Okay.
on here.
All right.
So gossip or slander, rejection, not being included, judgment without grace, spiritual abuse or manipulation, abuse of authority, hypocrisy, broken trust or betrayal, or lack of compassion during difficult seasons.
Oh, am I supposed to respond to all that?
Those were just some of the
I only have
things.
4. People hurt people. Infighting and division, betrayal, and moral failures. Those were the 4 that I had put down about how should the church handle. And I think that leadership of the church should always be aware of any of those kind of negative situations that are going on. We should
Right.
be aware of them.
Yeah.
And if it's something that needs to be addressed, then let's address it. But also chasing down every person that has a disagreement,
Right.
or a different opinion, that's very exhausting.
So it was okay for me to tell mom no when she was like, you
Well,
need to
now
fix
that's
this.
I think that's different. think that was your mother. Okay, number one. But I do think that we need to be able to discern when someone really is hurt.
Yeah.
Right? Versus just their feelings. Or it's more personal. Things didn't go the way they want because things didn't go their way. Versus being hurt because of one of these issues, the betrayal, the hypocrisy, all the things the 1,400 things that you just mentioned. But I do think the church does have a responsibility to do that. But I think sometimes people expect the church to get involved in what they consider their hurt, and it's not. The church shouldn't get involved in it because it's not. I had someone come to my office one day. And they were dating someone in the church, which, by the way, I don't like that. I don't like dating in the church because then when they quit dating, somebody's got to leave, right? I mean, they both can't stay now because
we have that conversation with Journey members. We're like, okay, if you're going to date, you just have to commit to us that if you break up, y'all staying.
So this fella comes in my office and he tells me that I need to get in the pulpit and announce that this lady friend that he's no longer dating, I need to announce that she's been involved in adultery. And I was like, but you guys were only dating, right? And he said, well, yeah, but she's out dating other people now. I was like, well, you weren't married, right? No. And I said, well, Joe, that wasn't his name. I said, hey, Joe, I don't really feel like that's something I need to handle in the pulpit. He got livid. He was so upset. He looked at me and said, if you don't get in the pulpit and say that, I'm going to call the overseer and tell him that. Now, I can tolerate a lot of things up until, somebody threatens me. When someone's threatening me,
the same person threatened me.
Well, and I dialed the number, handed it to him. Said, here.
That's petty.
I said, here. He goes, oh, no, I won't. I don't want to tell him right now. But here's what he said. People need to know the truth because the truth sets them free.
Oh, my goodness.
That's what he said.
Manipulation.
And I said, listen, Joe, it's not your truth that they need to hear.
Right.
It's Jesus' truth that they need to hear.
Yeah. Our truth doesn't set anybody free.
Our truth is so tainted and perverted and messed up. Because my truth is the church hurt me.
Right.
Right? That's my truth, but that's not really the truth.
Yeah.
The truth is people hurt me because of all the 1,400 things that you listed there a while ago. And I couldn't keep up with them. I tried to write them down, but you were writing them or saying them too fast.
I think you do a good job as a pastor when things do need to be addressed. And I'll say this, and you might hate me later, but you are a big fall on your sword guy.
I am.
And there have been several times that he has looked at Ryan and I over different situations and said, just take it. Just take it.
Yep.
Apologize, whether you meant it that way, whether, they took it wrong, whatever it is, you just take it, you apologize, you fall on your sword, and we move on. And I feel like in leadership, we're expected to do that, but I don't feel like the layman, the congregation, unfortunately, I don't think they don't do that.
I hate you. No, but here's... Is
that what you wrote down just now?
I did. I wrote, tell her that you hate her.
Make sure she knows.
I think, though, that's the difference between being in leadership and not, is that we should have an ability to do that we may not necessarily expect to see from them, from the congregation or the laity or whatever term you want to use. So I think there are times
we've been looking a lot at the Declaration of Faith, so I've got all these words in my brain.
It's okay.
The layman, laity, and all that stuff.
But I do think that there. And I'll say this, and I'm sure some people won't like it, but not everybody. There's a reason not everybody's called to be a pastor.
Oh, good grief!
Because my brother Jerry, who's on the praise team, he's one of our guitar players. He said to me several times, "It's a good thing you're the pastor and I'm not." He said, "Because if I was a pastor, wouldn't nobody be there?" And that's exactly how. And I do believe that's exactly how he would handle it, right? And I'm not saying that as a pastor you kind of just gloss over things or let things go. But I do think that we need to have a certain heart set that says, okay, all right, if that's how you took it, I didn't mean it that way, but I'm sorry that you feel that way. I've had several situations. Just one. A lady, she's passed on, Thelma Setzer. She was in the choir at another church where I was a choir director. And one of the ways that I try to handle tense situations is I use humor. I just try to be funny, right? So I get up for choir practice. Okay, everybody get such and such book. Turn to page 39, letter A. And we're getting ready to start. And I'm looking at the piano player, counting it off, and Thelma raises her hand. What did you say? And it was kind of irritating. And I was like, "Come on, Thelma, you know better than that. You heard me." So I said it again, and then we went on. End of practice. She comes to me, says, "I need to talk to you." I was okay. She said, "When you talk to me that way, you make me feel like that is the way that my husband talks to me. It makes me feel bad." And I just wanted to melt. I just wanted to go away. Now I know some people in leadership positions would say, "Hey, tough." Right. Toughen up.
Not my fault you took it that way.
Right.
Yeah.
But I just apologized all over myself. And I just said, Thelma, I never want you to feel that way.
Right.
I never once said, "Thelma, that's not how I meant it." Because that didn't matter.
Right.
What mattered was that's how she took it.
Yeah.
And I needed to address that. And again, I think that's what happens in every church squabble situation, is that it's not necessarily how I see it, because not everybody sees it the way I see it.
Right.
I need to address how they're feeling about it and how they've interpreted it and what's going on in there. And sometimes that does require, fall on your sword.
Yeah.
Live to fight another day. There's not a reason to say this is the hill I'm dying on. Let's address the situation. Let's fix it. And then at that point, I do think the laity, the congregant, they have a responsibility then. Mm-hmm. Right? If I have, okay, I understand where you're coming from, and I apologize for that. Sorry it came across to you that way. And then they have a responsibility. They have a responsibility to say, okay, well, let's move forward. But instead, too often they're like, just another thing that the pastor's done.
Me editing all of the thoughts in my brain right now. Like normally, what they do at that point is they just go tell everybody.
Right. Yeah. Pray for me because I'm going through something.
You think you squash the issue, and the next thing you know, 4 months later, somebody's coming to me like, "Did you know that you hurt so and so's feelings?" And I'm like, "I apologized like 8 months ago." Like, what do you want me to do? Yeah. But just an example before we move on to the next question. VBS, obviously a stressful time, but the other day I was walking in, I had just gotten off work. We had ran out of some stuff in the green room, and I had ordered it, and one of the things that I'd ordered did not come, and one of the Journey members, she just met me at the door. And I know you probably have this feeling on Sundays, and you probably have this feeling on Sundays too, but when people meet you as soon as you come in and they just and you're just I haven't even made it in the building yet. But she just kept saying the same thing over and over again. And finally I looked at her, I was like, "One more time." If
you say it one more time, I'll get it.
Yeah. I had no idea. I evidently was a little aggressive, and I made her cry. I didn't know I made her cry. The next day, she was like, we had gotten brought back up, and I told her, I was like, "I'm sorry. I never intended to hurt your feelings. I'm sorry if I came off aggressive. That was not my plan. I would never want to make you cry. Nothing." Now I could have looked at her and been like, "Why are you being so sensitive for?" But instead, I was just like, I'm sorry. That was I'm sorry that moment happened." And people don't want to do that, though. They want to let it just fester.
Right, because they feel like that they deserve then, some kind of vengeance or some kind of a response. Because I felt this way when you did that or said that. You saying that I'm sorry or you apologizing, that's not enough. I need to hang on to this for a while, which again is a decision to be offended. That's a decision to be offended, and again, I think that could be an unchristian way of handling it.
Ephesians 4:32 tells us to be kind, compassionate, and forgiving. We have to do that. And if we don't do that, then we're disobeying the word. You know, like I feel like so many people, I think it goes back to what you said at the beginning, that feel like we just have the right to be offended. We have the right to have our feelings hurt, and we like to hold on to it because it makes it feel like we have control over the situation instead of handling it biblically.
Yes, and I think one of the overarching scriptures biblically tells us that everybody has been called to the ministry of reconciliation. All of us have. It's like, well, I don't know what God wants me to. I do know this. Everybody's been called ministry of reconciliation, because if we don't reconcile, it turns into something so much bigger than it needs to be. And I think, again, I mean, people kind of, I'm upset because there's a clique. And again, it's just, there's cliques everywhere. There's cliques at school, there's cliques at work, there's cliques in church, because there's people in church that have commonalities. Right. That they hang out together. NASCAR lovers, they hang out together and talk about, if it ain't rubbing, it ain't racing. I mean, all these, and you got people that fish and they talk about all the right. And then someone comes, well, they didn't. Why would you want to be included? Why do you want me to force you into their group? Why? Right. But yet then they get hurt. And I have had this particular situation. I'm like, why do you really want to be part of something that I have forced them to accept you or to open for that particular group, whatever they're doing? I mean, we have car guys that are all mechanics, and they talk about that. That's fine. But then and so I'm like, why don't you find some people that have some common things with you and get part of that, and then they get hurt, and then the pastor doesn't care, and they let it blow up instead of just being involved in the ministry of reconciliation, saying, okay, he heard my complaint and he addressed it and he's aware, and now let's go back to loving on people. Instead of that, it's like I've got to get my posse together and get my people, and we're going to protest, and we're going to go against all, and it gets ridiculous. It really does get ridiculous. And I know I have said this on a podcast. I don't think it was this season though, but there was a local pastor had some interns, and he brought them in, and I was having lunch with them. We would do that every now and then, and he leans over, like, Pastor Terry, now why don't you tell so-and-so and so-and-so what it's going to take to be in the ministry? And I know what he wanted me to say. What he wanted me to say was, get on your face before the Lord and pray. And I said, you better have thick skin. Yeah. Because these kinds of situations could really destroy a person. I'm talking about a pastor or someone that's in leadership. We have more pastors that are leaving the ministry than that are coming in. I mean, that's a fact. And a lot of it is because we forget all of us have been called to the ministry of reconciliation. All of us have. It's not what can I highlight or amplify or magnify that's going to divide us and separate us. It should be, what can I find that will reconcile us? Yeah. What can I do that will facilitate reconciliation? And the first thing that you're going to have to do to facilitate reconciliation is deny yourself. Yeah. Get yourself out of the way. And, I've had multiple situations. I left a church one time or was leaving a church. I actually, it was a terrible situation. I was asked to leave a church. And my response to the lead pastor was, let me resign. Mm-hmm. Let me resign, because if I resign, it's going to make you look better. Ministry of reconciliation, right? I mean, I could have gathered up a posse and said, here's what he's doing. Yeah. And no, it's ministry reconciliation. Let me just get up, resign, makes you look good, and there's not going to be a lot of question about what's going on. And so I think rather than looking for reasons to be heard and looking for reasons to be upset and looking for reasons to leave, I think we need to look for reasons to reconcile, look for reasons to build, look for reasons to get involved. Some of some of the biggest complaints that I get are from people that are not involved.
Yeah.
They're not even doing anything, but they're going to complain about everybody else. Sorry. That's not what this podcast is all about.
Oh.
I'm supposed to be helping people.
Last question.
It's very therapeutic for me.
But it's so true. Like, there's so much I want to say, but we don't have time. Is it ever appropriate to leave a church because of hurt? And if so, what biblical principles should guide that decision?
I think if we take everything, all of my thoughts that I've shared over the last 50 minutes, I don't think it's ever okay to leave because of hurt. Mm-hmm. I tell people, I do a lot of marriage counseling, and I tell people all the time, if you need to become the best version of you, regardless of how this turns out.
Right.
If it turns out that you guys decide to get divorced, that's terrible. I don't ever encourage that, of course, but you need to become the best version of you that you can be. Because if you don't, whatever it is that's causing this issue, you're going to take it with you.
Right.
Same way here. Mm-hmm. Whatever's causing your issue that you think has caused hurt, if you don't get it resolved, if you don't reconcile it, you're just going to take it with you.
Right.
And you will become a person that will have that reputation. Mm-hmm. Well, that's a person that goes from that church to that church. And the reason is because you've never resolved anything.
The old church hopper.
I was going to use those words, but... you guys would say, "Oh, that must be old because we never heard that before."
I've heard it.
Romans 12:18. As much as it depends on you, live peaceably with all men. It doesn't say as much as it depends on the person that you think has hurt you. It says as much as it depends on you, live peaceably with all men. And so I think that if a person says that they're going to leave a church because they're hurt, I think that's the wrong reason to leave. Yeah. I think you leave the church. If that's where you feel like God wants you to do, that's fine. Resolve the hurt before you go, because if not, you're going to take it with you. I probably shouldn't say this, but I can talk to someone for 5 minutes, and I'll tell you if they've left another church hurt.
Yeah,
because they're bringing it with them, and unfortunately, that's probably what's going to be an issue for them here at this community of faith, because they've never resolved it. We have all been called to ministry of reconciliation. Have I said that before?
Yes.
Oh.
Sounds
a few times.
Matthew 10:14. Whoever will not receive you or hear you, what did Jesus tell them to do? Dust, kick the dust from your feet and move on. Mm-hmm. So I know that happens, and that's fine. But go in and whoever it is that you feel like that the hurt has come from, you better reconcile that.
Yeah.
You need to get that right. Well, even there's the process of, go to them and say whatever it is, and if they don't respond to that, take somebody with you, and then if they don't respond to that, take it before the church.
Right.
And again, I think that's probably one of the biggest things missing in churches today is church discipline. Mm-hmm. Man, we don't like that.
Oh my goodness, because it leads to this.
Oh boy.
Right?
It hurt, yeah.
Yeah,
absolutely.
It leads to hurt. It leads to, oh man, we just don't have the time.
We don't, because that's 5 minutes off and we're already over time.
Yes, it does. It's a struggle. And in youth ministry, specifically, I can speak from that. It is a struggle because when you look at people that you have standards for, and you're like, listen, you're in this leadership role, you're doing this, you're doing that. You can't post pictures like that on social media. Yeah. You can't go to these things. You can't talk like that. You can't do that, blah, 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 blah. And then all of a sudden they're upset and you're like, I don't understand.
Yeah, we talked about that.
Yeah, and it's constant. It's tough. I will say this before we end. One of the things I have learned in my life, because I've always felt like I have been a highly offendable person. I get offended very easily, and I try not to be, and I feel like I'm doing a lot better, but I do get really offended. There's something I struggle with, because I take everything personal. Like even at work, I just take everything personal. And so one of the things that I am doing and am learning to do is praying for people who I feel like have hurt my feelings.
Yep. That's a good one.
And before I even get to the point of like, let me tell you what you've done to me, I just take it to the Lord and I just pray, God, help my eyes to see them through your eyes. Help my heart to know what to do with this next step. And there's lots of people I don't confront. I don't let them know what they've done. Because I'm settling it with the Lord first. And sometimes I feel like when it comes to the subject of church hurt, that if we bring it to the Lord in prayer first, before we go and make our statements or before we start gossiping about people and doing all those things, I feel like the Lord will correct us, guide us, lead us to the point to where does it need to be addressed? Do we need to take it there? If we would go to Him first,
Right.
instead of worrying about making sure our side's being seen.
Right. Yeah, I think there's a lot of those cases where probably nothing needs to be said
Right.
at all. Like you said earlier, Hebrews, pursue peace with all people.
Yeah.
Just pursue peace. And sometimes that means just deny yourself, choose not to be offended,
Yep.
be unoffendable. And I think that if we could ever find a way to flip that back, what I said at the very beginning, somewhere in recent past, we flipped it from all of it's about God to now all of it's about me. If we could somehow find a way to flip it back, that would take care of a lot of church hurt.
Yeah. All right. Thank
right.
you so much for being with us. I felt like this was a really good episode. I hope it helps people.
I hope it does too.
We hope you're helped.
Wow, hope you're helped.
We hope you're helped. We'll be with you this next time. We're trying to get the word out about the lightning round to get your questions out there. Like, follow, rate, review, send it to a friend, send it to the person that hurt you. Maybe they'll learn something.
Whoa.
Love you. Bye.
See ya.
Bye.